Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. An unexpected live video for you guys coming at you from Casa Downey again, just like Amari Cooper. The Dallas Cowboys truly just love finding a way to make moves late in the evening. Everson Griffen, just like the headline, just like the thumbnail, I'll say, he is now a member of the Dallas Cowboys. A truly unexpected development. I was not prepared for the Dallas Cowboys to get a deal done with Everson Griffen, but I am a massive fan of this particular move. So get your comments in. Any super chats will do as well. A different style video, I know. We're going to be live again tomorrow. I think tomorrow we will have the contract details on Everson Griffen. If we don't already get it, while we're live right now, I'll check my text messages periodically throughout the night. As Ryan O says, we got Griffen. That is exactly right. Everson Griffen is a member of the Dallas Cowboys. What I assume is going to be a one-year deal. I'm going to guess around the $8 million price tag. The Cowboys being aggressive. I didn't think they were going to. They don't normally pay outside free agents. I'm pumped. Dominic Lizcano with the first super chat. Thank you, my man. Cowboys win a Super Bowl. Tom will shotgun a tall boy. I'll shotgun a couple tall boys. I'll probably shotgun a Red Bull to keep myself awake because I'm not going to sleep that night. Yeah, I am fired up about this move. Type in LFG in the comments section. I absolutely love it. Stephen West wants to know what his stats are. Now, on most shows, we would bring up a nice fancy graphic and break down the stats for you and show you that, hey, Everson Griffen in 2019 had himself a nice year. He had 41 tackles. He had 8 sacks. He had 11 tackles for loss. We'd show you over the past 4 years, he's gone 8 sacks, 13 sacks, 5.5 sacks in a limited 2018 campaign, and then 8 sacks this past year. We'll show it to you tomorrow, I promise you. So if you haven't already, now's a good time to subscribe, folks. But look, I'm fired up about this move. His stats are very, very good to answer your question. I feel significantly better about this defense just with this one move. Just this one move makes me feel better about where the Cowboys are at on defense. I like Tyrone Crawford. I think you guys know that. But he's not a legitimate super heavy pass rush sack guy. He's never going to be a double-digit 8-sack guy. Everson Griffen is. And frankly, from going from Robert Quinn to Everson Griffen, now I don't think Griffen puts up the same caliber of season that Quinn had last year. But if you look at what they've done over the past few seasons, I don't really think it's all that significantly different. I think maybe Quinn's a little bit of a better player. But Griffen is not that steep of a drop-off. To get him here, to get him in August, it's a brilliant move. You get him with a player that McCarthy, in some capacity, well, he does know a little bit. There is some familiarity there with Mike McCarthy and with Everson Griffen. So I am a big fan here of this. So I'm a huge fan. As I just saw Troy Daniels super chat come along here, thinks it's prove it's Super Bowl or bust. I hope so. I think this is a sign that the Cowboys are going in. All in, I should say. Now, in terms of the cutting Tyrone Crawford, I haven't seen anything on that. I suppose it's possible, but you can afford both those players, especially if you got Griffen on a little bit more of the cheap side. Some more super chats coming in here from Joshua Quinn. We don't need to worry about the secondary if the quarterback can't get the ball faster enough. So I tend to value secondary a little bit more because I want to buy my edge rushers more time. But you're right. Like, if you have a great pass rush, that makes up for an iffy secondary. That's why I'm a huge fan of this signing. I want to see the details, but probably going to give it an A. My alleged burner account, Tom Downey burner account, reaction to the Gregory news or lack thereof. I'm sure they're connected. I'm not sure they're necessarily like a reaction. I think the Cowboys have known that Gregory's status is iffy. I think they've known that they needed another pass rusher. I will make note, if this doesn't result in the cutting of Tyrone Crawford, I'm not sure that it will. I also thought they weren't going to go out and get Everson Griffen. This is a notable departure and front office change from what they've done in recent years. This probably does not mean good things for the likes of Joe Jackson, Dorrance Armstrong, maybe Bradley and I. There's a depth and body count issue for this team. Someone going to get cut. T. Patter wants to know the chances they make a move for a corner. I still don't think they make a move to add another corner. I think that, Logan Ryan doesn't make a lot of sense for the way this team is built. I think maybe Drake Patrick could make some sense. I wouldn't hate it. I like this team being aggressive. You guys know I am an aggressive person. I want them to make moves to go out and add impact players, and they've done that with Everson Griffen. Jordan Thomas says, for making my day with this news, the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. That's how he found out. I also think this makes Aldon Smith better, more impact, less reps. I think that's fair. I think that you will have a little bit more of a chance to have a legitimate rotation with DeMarcus Lawrence and Everson Griffen and Aldon Smith. You can find creative ways potentially to get all three of those guys on the field at the same time, blitzing in creative fashion. So, yeah, look, Jordan, I'm on the same boat as you are. I'm really fired up about this particular move. I love the addition of Everson Griffen. For those of you just now tuning in, as of right now, we don't have the exact contract details. Allow me to double check my texts, and we still don't. I'm sure we'll get that at some point tonight or tomorrow morning. My guess, and it is just a guess right now, 1 year. The Cowboys in the past have limited themselves to an $8 million deal. I thought Griffen could get that on the open market. If they got him for less than $8 million, ooh, baby, that is an absolute steal. So we'll see what the contract details say. But now you have DeMarcus Lawrence on this team. Now you have Tyrone Crawford, who I saw a comment come in. If you don't cut him or ask him to take a pay cut, you probably do have him be more of an interior rotation guy. Maybe this move is a sign the Cowboys are a little more concerned about his health for week one. But you've also got Aldon Smith. You can maybe get production from, who knows about Randy Gregory if we're all being honest here. You might be able to get production from a Bradley and a Joe Jackson, a Dorrance Armstrong. I feel a lot better about this Cowboys pass rush. I was moderately concerned. Now I feel really damn good about it. Joshua Quinn, thank you for your super chat. He says this wouldn't have happened with the Clapper as a head coach. I mean, look, there's clearly been a methodical shift in the way the Cowboys are operating. Now, they did make a move for Robert Quinn last year, but I like that they're going out and finding a way to add impact players. Here we are, mid-August, and you're getting an impact defensive player who legitimately is a starting caliber player in the NFL. Is he a top 10 edge rusher? Nah, he's not. But I love the addition, man. As Benny Holmes Sanchez says for his super chat, I'm going to party to the break of dawn. Hey, have at it, man. I'm going to crack a beer here in a little bit and enjoy it. Look, normally this stuff happens when I'm out of town. The Cowboys have changed their MO, though. They are choosing to make these moves around 9 o'clock or later Eastern time. They did it with Amari Cooper. Now they go out and they get Everson Griffen. I am such a huge, huge fan of this particular move. Again, for those of you just now tuning in, first off, subscribe. We'd appreciate it. I really would. We do stuff all the time. We'll be live again tomorrow, in theory, with the contract details. Camp opens up Friday for the Cowboys in terms of actual on-field practices. Griffen will have to wait a little bit, but it's a huge addition. I forgot to mention this, by the way, the potential connection here. George Edwards was the Vikings defensive coordinator under Mike Zimmer the past couple of years. He is now a member of this Cowboys organization. He's a defensive assistant. He's not the DC, but he's kind of going to be one of the more higher ups, I think, without a true position coach there in terms for his designation. I love it. I am a huge fan of this particular move for Everson Griffen for the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, it is a 1-year deal. Just got the note from the agent on that one. It is a 1-year deal for the Dallas Cowboys and for Everson Griffen. So an update on that. The discussions apparently started within the past week. They had some semblance of contact beforehand, but in the past, couple of days is where things really got going. The Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks were also involved there, but a 1-year deal for Everson Griffen. The money involved as of right now, I don't know yet. I don't know if this means, Tyrone Crawford is going to end up getting cut. We'll see. We'll discuss that tomorrow on the live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So subscribe if you haven't already. The 1,000 people watching live right now. In terms of what you'll get from Griffen this year, some housekeeping notes here. Cowboys start practice Friday. That's when the shells go on, when they move into the more typical training camp setup. Everson Griffen will not be on the field in that time frame. There is still the COVID-19 testing and waiting. I believe he still needs 3 negative tests. So at that point, he'll be good to go. You'll probably see him get eased into the whole process here. But look, I want you guys to grade this 1-year deal for me in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm fired up about this one. I do want to see the exact contract details. My expectation is that, it's going to be some roster bonuses. I'm not sure how much incentives there's going to be. My guess is this comes in maybe around the $8 million range, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But I see almost all A's coming in right now from Camo Wolf, from Anthony Ortiz, from Caleb Queen, from Horace Thompson. A pluses I see from Antonio Santos. I'm waiting still. I don't see anything but an A. I think you guys are exactly right. And I am a huge fan of Tom Downey says B, wants to see my burner account, wants to see the B and some money. That's fair too. I'm totally on board with that. B right now, A, once we eventually get the money here, which I'm sure we'll have at some point, potentially while we're still live. We'll find out. Only way is to keep watching. I love the decision here. I love what this means for the Cowboys. This is an organization that clearly thinks they are in their window. Now, I don't like that they, maybe didn't find a way to maximize the contract with Dak Prescott, but this is the type of decision-making that I love to see. It's an aggressive mindset. It is a belief that, we are in our window. We can compete right now. We can find a way to make a run in the NFC East in what's going to be a very unusual season, in what's going to be a difficult setup for teams to have stability and consistency. The Cowboys, I believe, and I think they do as well, with the way they're set up, with the way their internal support structure is set up, they believe they can stay healthy this year. And they believe they can make a run. So this is what this move means. That's what this means with Everson Griffen. I'm not sure yet if this really means it's anything having to do with Randy Gregory, or Tyrone Crawford. There is some impact there, be it the health and actually getting reinstated. But it's aggressiveness. I want this team to be aggressive. Yes, it does limit some of your future flexibility, but you get 8 sacks here from Everson Griffen. That's worth it. And you might get a comp pick next year potentially. That's also worth it. Kilgore, thank you for your super chat back from soccer practice. He gives it an A+. You guys can feel free to continue to get your super chats in. If you have a super chat and it's a question, I'll be sure to answer it. But for those of you just now tuning in, let's recap what we know. Everson Griffen has agreed to a 1-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys. The exact money is not yet known. The Cowboys historically have really only had, about $8 million per year is about their max for outside free agents. They don't really go above that. Maybe they did with Griffen. Maybe they came in below that. I'm excited to see exactly what this contract details are. It's going to be cheaper than what they would have paid Quinn when he went to the Chicago Bears on a pretty significant deal. On a 1-year deal for a veteran player, I'm all for it, man. I love this move. And as several of you have pointed out, yes, this is a lovely PlayStation 4 headset. That's exactly what this is, because I'm coming to you from my house. My wife disappointed. I'm not spending time with her. The dog is whining outside the door because he just desperately wants attention. But news happens, and we get it to you however we can. So if you have not already, folks, subscribe. We will be live again tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have the details on Everson Griffen. I'm sure we'll have more to discuss around Tyrone Crawford, Randy Gregory. There's a lot of good stuff we have planned for you guys tomorrow. But I am fired up about this Everson Griffen move. So if you are too, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Now, a super chat coming in from Stephen West. No one can be double teamed up front. Time to eat. I hope so. I think there will still be times when they double team DeMarcus Lawrence, but having that second pass rusher, I think, is important. Because if you do double DeMarcus Lawrence, you're right, Steven. That means Dontari Poe is probably getting a one-on-one matchup, or Gerald McCoy is getting a one-on-one matchup, or Alden Smith, or Everson Griffen, or Tyrone Crawford, and those guys can win one-on-one matchups. At least I still think Alden Smith can win one-on-one matchups. And for the record, I do believe that adding Everson Griffen will qualify as a Fatties Only 2020 move, so you guys know what to do. Spread the brand right there. I see a lot of questions on Crawford, so I do want to mention that a little bit more in depth here. We'll talk about it a lot tomorrow too. I promise you guys, and I'm sure we'll have some more information. I'm not sure if it means they're going to move on from him. Now, I wasn't sure that I didn't think the Cowboys were going to add Everson Griffen. I gave that a 1 star, and in the past week or so, things really ramped up for the Cowboys, and here we are, Everson Griffen, a member of the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm fired up about it. Tyrone Crawford, though, I do feel a little bit more concerned about his status, or concerned for him, I should say. Look, he and Griffen are both on 1-year deals. Crawford costs about $8 million. I am not convinced that they're going to cut him. I do a pay cut because I still kind of want to have Griffen and Crawford and Lawrence and Alden Smith. That's such a McCoy. I want to have some depth there. I would immediately approach Tyrone Crawford about a pay cut. Because at minimum, you have some more leverage in order to convince him to take that pay cut there. Now, John, a good point here. I meant to mention this earlier. If Everson Griffen leaves next offseason, you might get a comp pick. This signing does not impact the compensatory pick formula for what the Cowboys did this offseason. There is no impact. Griffen opted out of his contract, so I don't believe he qualifies anyway, regardless there, which is what John said. Regardless, though, this is after the comp pick deadline. So the Cowboys are still probably going to get their third, maybe 2, a 4th, and a 5th pick here for all the players that they lost in free agency. So this defensive line, though, something I've asked the Cowboys to do for a while, feels a lot better. You have Everson Griffen, you have Gerald McCoy, Dontari Poe, and DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, you can work in Crawford if you keep him. You still have Neville Gallimore, Bradley and Alden Smith. You got options. You got bodies there. I feel a lot better about this Cowboys front seven, and I feel a lot better today with where we sit with the Dallas Cowboys. Funny that they made this move and not a hint of it got leaked at all, despite the Cowboys having their State of the Cowboys Today press conference. Super chat coming in from Nick Perrone says, trade for Malik Hooker. Look, I am a big fan of Malik Hooker. I think he can be an impact-free safety. There have been some injury problems in his past. That's been a pretty significant problem here for the Dallas Cowboys, or for Malik Hooker, I should say, as a member of the Indianapolis Colts. If you can get him for a day 3 pick, I'd honestly probably do it. I also don't think that the Indianapolis Colts are going to be willing right now to give him up for just a day 3 pick. They're trying to win games right now with former Cowboys DC Matt Eberflus. I don't think trading Hooker does that. So I would pursue it, but it takes 2 teams, 2 sides to make a deal happen. I'm not convinced that is something that the Colts truly end up pursuing. So get your questions in, get your comments in here, folks. I am happy about this deal. Feel free to grade it again, A, B, C, D, or F as you guys get your votes in. I want to remind everybody, if you have not already, please subscribe, folks. We keep you covered on everything Dallas Cowboys. We're the ones live right now, breaking down the signing from my Studio D, if you will, here. Studio Downey coming at you from my house in Dallas, Texas, breaking down the news for you, despite my wife not being a huge fan of it because she just hasn't got to see me at all today. We are going to be live again tomorrow. We will still be live breaking down whatever contract details we get from Everson Griffen, what this truly means for Tyrone Crawford. I'll get some more information for you guys on that one. We'll break down Randy Gregory. There are some other rumors I want to get to. We'll do some more mailbags. We'll have the graphics back for you guys. We'll have that all set up. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Got almost 900 watching it live right now. So if you haven't already, now is the time to do it. So whatever questions you guys have here, we're only about 20 minutes in. We'll keep it going here a little bit. Let's see what questions we got here. Feel free to use hashtag Cowboys. Yes, thank you, Ben Henderson. That's going to make it a lot easier for me to see them on my live chat screen here. So if you have questions, use hashtag Cowboys. Army Mom Heather, no, I am not in a closet at home. I have my wife's makeup lamp in front of me, another light as well, and just up against the back wall in the guest room. So yes, John Nolan, as these questions come in, Everson Griffen is a member of the Dallas Cowboys. That is, in fact, a done deal. 1-year deal, contract details still to be determined. Cowboys got him. All right, first up from AJ Mayers. Put these in multiple times, guys, because they're all going to get buried. Making all these big moves, but they're 1-year deals. What happens next year to these big playmakers? I mean, look, Alden Smith and Everson Griffen, a lot of these 1-year deals are veterans, at least the guys they've added this year. So they're not all going to be back. This is the mercenary route the Cowboys are going. Bring in a 1-year guy. Maybe you keep him. Maybe you don't. It's kind of like the Cobb and Griffin and the Cobb and Quinn thing. But that worked out great because you're going to get picks for those guys. So, yeah, future, it's a little more murky. But for this year, how can you not be all over it? The homie Chapo, so is Crawford out? Maybe. I thought for sure by now they would have had him take a pay cut or cut him because his salary was a little bit too high. Clearly that has not happened. Maybe now with Griffen in town that will change. But I think it's a wait-and-see process right now. They have him in camp. He's on the PUP list. I think they want him on the roster. But, yeah, I think there's a lot more doubt now when it comes to the future of Tyrone Crawford. America's team. What's the word on the Wolf Hunter? Is he back healthy? It seems that way. I still want to see him on the field, but yeah, I think that you're going to see Van Der Esch okay. Anthony Ortiz, Tom, why are the Cowboys finally making moves? They're listening to me. I kid, kind of. You can go back and watch the moves I wanted them to make to help make a Super Bowl run, and Griffen was on there. I wanted them to add him. Maybe the timing was just right. They haven't invested a lot in the past in free agency. They haven't signed outside guys. I think having a new coaching staff is a factor in that because George Edwards, Mike McCarthy, they're fairly familiar with what Everson Griffen can do. I think that is a significant factor, but they're being aggressive. They see a window. I love it. I'm a big fan of this particular decision here by the Dallas Cowboys. Nolan, how much do you think we paid him? Great question, Nolan. Everyone get your predictions in here. 1-year deal. What do you think the Cowboys paid Everson Griffen? $8 million, $7 million, $9 million in terms of like the cap hit. I'll shoot my shot. It comes in around 7.5. I could see it being in the 8 range. 10 from Tom Downey burner account. I think that's on the high side, but it is still plausible. I mean, look, truly anything under, 8 million, I think is going to be a steal. I see some 6 millions coming in, 7 from Ski Works, 9.5, 6, 7.5. I think we're all in about the correct ballpark here. I think that's right. I think somewhere in that category is about the right value for Everson Griffen. And if it comes in cheaper, I mean, I love it. So if I got him at, I think 8's fair value. If you get him under 8, I mean, I think you have to be pretty darn ecstatic at that point. So I know this defensive line is now a little bit older because Griffen and McCoy are 32. Alden and Poe turn 30. I think next week, a week after that, somewhere in that range. But I mean, a lot of those guys are 1-year deals, 2-year deals. So I would like to see that end up being the case. Super chat coming in from Viva LeBlanc. How you feeling, Tom? I'm hyped. Look, I'm pretty pumped up too. I'm a huge fan of this particular deal by the Dallas Cowboys. I've wanted them to be aggressive for a really long time. And this has always been a an organization that loves stability. They love having some flexibility. They like to have their guys. They don't spend much on outside free agents. It's not something that they really try to do. They've managed to do that, though, this offseason. They signed Gerald McCoy. They've signed Dontari Poe. They've signed Everson Griffen now. We'll have to see exactly what those contract details come out. I know I've seen some comments in the chat saying $6 million. I haven't got that confirmed yet, so we'll have to wait and see. But look, I'm a big fan of this move. I am hyped. I was driving home when I got the text, and I'm just pumped up about it, man. Like this is a great move. They're being aggressive. It's just stuff I've wanted the Cowboys to do for years. You're in your window. Be aggressive. Yes, your cap space 5 years from now, that might be a little iffy. This is great. So America's team, speaking of cap space, how much cap space do the Cowboys have after this particular signing? A little bit unclear, right? I don't know what Griffen is going to make. I don't know how much of potential incentives could be attached onto this deal. Entering tonight, the Cowboys were hovering around $10 million. That is a very flexible number. So, we'll see exactly what it ends up looking like, but it's probably not going to be that much. And in terms of adding another big-name tight end, honestly, probably not. I don't think they're going to go that route. I do want to see exactly what this contract ends up looking like before I speak in a truly confident this is what it's going to be sense. But for what I expect this deal to look like, I don't think they're going to be super aggressive beyond this. I will make note. Now, in most cases, when the money gets released, it is always from the agent, and it is normally released in such a fashion to make it look as good as possible for their client. That we are here about an hour in with no exact details yet. Rap Sheet has not tweeted it out yet, by the way. For those of you putting in the comment section, that's not accurate from what I've seen. That we don't have the details yet makes me think this might be a little bit more on the team-friendlier side, might come in a little bit below that $8 million over-under that I've set it at the current moment. So you can keep getting your super chats in. I want to shout out the $5 one with no question from Mason. No, but Mason, I appreciate you taking care and supporting the show. Really appreciate it. It is a one-year deal, Nick, right? That is true. Just I'll recap it all right now for you guys because we're doing some questions here. 1-year deal for Everson Griffen as of right now. We do not yet know what the exact contract details are. I'll put the over-under at around $8 million. We'll see exactly what it ends up looking like, but we'll have to wait and see there. I see some questions coming. A good one here from Eric Olson. I'll show that one because it got blocked. Goodbye, Tristan. Trade is bleep. I don't think this is going to necessarily impact Tristan Hill, but I do think this is going to impact guys like Randy Gregory, Alden Smith, Bradley, and I. They're going to play Everson Griffen, Dorrance Armstrong, Joe Jackson. These guys might not end up making the roster. They were on the bubble when I did my roster projection like 3 days ago. You got to cut somebody to make room for Everson Griffen now. Mason Knoll, the super chat. Thank you, my man. Will the Cowboys make any more moves? It is possible. Maybe if you can find a cheap depth safety. Maybe if there's a trade that you end up coming across and you're able to exploit on the open market. I could see that being a potential option here for the Dallas Cowboys. But I think in terms of like the big moves, which I honestly wasn't sure we were going to get. There's a lot of surprise right now for people that I've talked to around this organization. They did a really good job of keeping this under wraps and not letting it leak out. There was some conflicting reports of interest a while ago, and that was like months ago, and then this kind of picked back up in the past 2 weeks, or past couple days, I should say. But I think in terms of the big moves, and they're probably about it at this point. Now, Vic with a good point. Yes, If Crawford moves inside full time, that would impact Tristan Hill. I thought he was already going to play a bit of a hybrid role as he has in the past. But Hill is already on the hot spot, or on the hot seat with the drafting of Gallimore. This defensive line battle is really going to be interesting. Jalen Jokes, Dorrance Armstrong, Joe Jackson, Bradley, and I. There's maybe one or two spots. Like, that's it. The rest of those guys, maybe you get them on the practice squad. I see some comments. Trevon Diggs to safety. No, you need corners. You need Diggs to emerge, hopefully sooner than later. So I'm keeping him there. Look, I see a lot of questions on Logan Ryan. His agent wants him to play safety now. I'm sure we'll talk about this again tomorrow. In fact, we will talk about it more tomorrow. Have some more information for you, but I'll keep it succinct here so we can get some more questions. No, he's a nickel corner. Like, his agent might want him to play safety, but his best spot is nickel. So I don't really see the need to try and move him to safety where I've already got Xavier Woods and Clinton Dix. He wants to start. You invested in Anthony Brown. If this was really discussed at the beginning of free agency, I think it would have made more sense. But now, not sure it's the case. Let me think here, by the way. The signing of Everson Griffen, because a great point here from Rodney's next chapter. Can we keep 80 players? Yes, right now. But in terms of the season, you can only keep 53 plus 16 practice squad guys. Now, Everson Griffen, I don't think is going to count against the 80-man roster limit immediately, but I do think the Cowboys are going to have to make an additional move here. By the way, just got the contract details coming in here. Everson Griffen, a 1-year, $6 million deal. So now we have the details. Go ahead and grade it. So those of you who had maybe heard the $6 million, you guys were right. This is an A grade for me. To get him for under 8 is an absolute steal. Like, I absolutely love this move by the Dallas Cowboys. This is not that expensive. This is less than what they normally pay him, what they paid outside free agents. That's why this makes sense for the Cowboys. They came in to that low deal. They got him below that typical $7-8 million price tag. I think it's an A. This is an awesome move by the Dallas Cowboys. I see Junebug and Army Mom typing in steal. I mean, yeah, guys, this is a steal. This is an absolutely fantastic move. This is I honestly thought when Griffen opted out, he was going to make like $10 million. He's coming in $4 million less than that. I think, A, he thought he was going to get $10 million. Clearly, that did not happen. I think this is an awesome move by the Cowboys. I think it's A+. Like, to get Everson Griffen, even though it is June or August, excuse me, to get him on a $6 million deal, I am all for it, man. This is an awesome move. I'm curious to see exactly how this contract will be structured. I'll have to get the exact details here probably later tonight. It is a deal worth $6 million. That doesn't even necessarily mean that it's going to be a $6 million cap hit. This could come in lower than that in terms of the cap hit because you might make it some incentive base that aren't going to count this year. So, huge fan of this move. I'm going to give it an absolute A. Some super chats coming in here. From Bijan Manzuri, my boy says his fiance told him our baby girl Dallas, they named her Dallas, being boy will give the Cowboys luck. I hope that is true, my friend. I really hope that is the case. I know you've been away, and I'm glad to have you back watching the show here. From Gabe Flores, is this a top 10 defense? You know, I don't think so. Because I still have enough concerns about the secondary that I'm not convinced it's top 10, but I feel way better about it. I'll probably sleep on it before I rank it exactly, but I still have concerns about the secondary, namely cornerback, but I feel way better about the pass rush. I'm really going to miss having Byron Jones on this team, But I think that the changes in defensive scheme are going to help that out. So are they top 10? I think no. You guys can get your votes in. Y for yes, N for no. But I think they're going to be bordering league average. And if I can get a league average defense with this offense and the special teams don't just suck again, I think this can be a true playoff threat contender. And if you're a playoff threat contender, I think you make the playoffs this year. That means you're a Super Bowl contender. All right, from my burner account, is punter the next area to realistically address? I hope so. I really want them to let go of Chris Jones. And I know he was hurt last year, but he's been bad for 3 straight years. He's been bottom of the NFL. Move on. He's expensive, relative to other punters. And if that's the case, just dump those guys. Move on. You don't need them anymore. So find a cheap punter. If it's Marquette King, sure. If it's Lack Edwards, sure. If it's someone you've never heard of, sure. Because they're all going to be bad. Even if they're bad, you had the NFL's worst punter last year. If you're going to have the NFL's worst punter, at least save the $1 million. That's at least my mindset. So we'll recap this here again. Just a little bit of everything going on here right now, folks, for the 800 plus people watching live right now. Everson Griffen, 1-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys. As Kaiser Sose, Travis Stevenson all posting, it is a $6 million deal. I had put the over-under at 8. I suspected it might come in below that because the Cowboys signed him. They typically don't go above 7. I didn't think they were going to. I thought that Everson Griffen was going to go for a little bit more. That is not what happened. He signed for a little bit less than that. $6 million on a 1-year deal. I believe there are some roster bonuses that are impacted by that, which will, if I'm remembering correctly, because he's played all 16 games, they will count against the cap for this year, but they'll get some of that money back if he misses games for whatever reason. I don't have the exact details. I haven't got the contract yet. We'll break it down tomorrow for you guys. But get your votes in. Grade this deal. 1 year, $6 million. 1 year, $6 million deal for the Dallas Cowboys. I believe it is going to be a $3 million base contract for Everson Griffen and some incentives as well. But this is a really, really good move by the Dallas Cowboys. This is smart. This is what smart teams do. That's why I'm giving this an A. This is smart. You're being aggressive. You're in your window. You're finding value for players who hadn't signed. It's an awesome move. This is a no doubt A. This is a significant addition to the Dallas Cowboys roster here in August. Doesn't often happen. You now have a legitimate number 2, and for some teams, he might have been their number 1. He went with the Jets, he'd be their best pass rusher. In Dallas, he's your number 2. And so this is what smart contending organizations do. They be aggressive, they try and maximize their windows, and they sign players to below market deals. And what legitimately might happen here, folks, is Everson Griffen puts up an 8-sack season. The world gets back to normal next year. Everson Griffen leaves in free agency, and the Cowboys get a draft pick back. That's what might happen, and that's smart. Mediel7 says he's so happy. I'm hitting you with a super chat. Thank you, my man. We'll go until, just for the live show, folks, I think we'll go until, let's call it 9:08, somewhere in that range. We'll go 45 minutes in total. So if you have super chats, now is the time to get them in. Speaking of those, Nate Chance, who are the top secondary free agents left? Great question. You have Logan Ryan out there. You have Drake Kirkpatrick out there. You have Eric Reed out there. Eric there too. I am not sure the Cowboys go that route. I would like to add another safety. I'd love to bring in Eric Reed on a 1-year, $2 million deal if he's willing. I'd be all for that. I think that makes sense. You add some depth at safety, and if LVE or Jalen get hurt again, you have some extra a guy who can play linebacker for you. I wouldn't anticipate a Logan Ryan signing based on where I've heard his asking price is, but Griffin's asking price came down, so we'll see. We'll do some more questions here for another 5 minutes or so, and then I'm going to go eat dinner for the first time tonight, obviously. If you haven't already, yes, thank you, chat. Subscribe. We are going to be live again tomorrow, breaking down more on the Dallas Cowboys. So if you haven't already, now is the time to subscribe, as we'll stay live here for another 5 minutes or so. Jonathan Collins, should Dallas consider picking up another guard? I think Ron Leary is going to end up with the Cleveland Browns, so probably not. You have McGovern, you have Williams. I think Camp Irving can play guard. He has before if you need him to. Adam Redmond can play guard. So, no, I don't think if you're the Cowboys, you need to go get another guard. A Channel says trade everyone for Mahomes. The Chiefs still say no. Sorry, my friend. Marcus Betts, does Griffen automatically start? I don't know. I think so, but I think it might be more of we're building and ramping him up to start. Once he's cleared, I'm not convinced he takes like day one snap reps. You kind of saw something a little bit similar with Quinn, although Quinn was suspended, so it made it a little bit easier. But look, Griffen is going to play starter snaps. I just don't know if it's going to be necessarily your week one, snap one starter. We'll see on that one. Cap for the Cowboys. Also, guys, use hashtag Cowboys. It just makes it easier for me to see the actual questions beyond the comments. I don't know what the cap is for the Cowboys. If it is a $6 million cap hit, you're probably around $5 million, but you can free up more fairly easily. So once I get the exact details on how the contract is truly set up, we'll know for certain. But until then, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. A super chat now coming in from, who is that? Sorry, I just lost it. From Gabe Flores. With our offensive line aging, our Super Bowl window is closing. So I actually disagree with that on two separate fronts. For starters, and this is going to sound really weird, guys, but it is true. The Cowboys offensive line, as of right now, has 0 players over the age of 30. Tyrone Smith, Zach Martin, Joe Looney, they're all 29. Now, they do turn 30 this year, and Tyron's body is older than 30, but I think the offensive line has a 5-year window. And that window aligns with my more important point of your quarterback. Your quarterback is really good. Your quarterback is really good. He's awesome. He is a top 10 quarterback. Contrary to the BS John's posting, he's not better than Dak is not worse than Mitch Trubisky. You idiot. Wrong. The Cowboys have a top 10 quarterback. And as long as you have that guy, your window is open. Now, the window becomes tougher to win in when you have to pay the quarterback a lot, but that's the nature of life in the NFL. But your window is open. So is the window at its most open point? No. That was probably 2 or 3 years ago, but you had Jason Garrett, and that caused some issues, and clearly that was a problem. But the window is still open. So, yes, I think it's fair to worry about Tyron Smith and that back, because backs typically don't suddenly get better. And yes, in this upcoming draft, I'm going to look to add another defensive or offensive lineman, especially if I can find some value there. But I'm not panicking about the O-line aging at this point. All right, we will do 2 more questions. I will randomly pick them. 2 more. Then we're going to sign off. We will be live again tomorrow. So if we don't get to your questions, subscribe and we'll get it in. T. Duke says, dude, you're insane. Dak is trash. You're blind as hell. Wrong. You're insane. You think Dak is trash? You're a hater. Like, there's no way around it at this point. And it's late in the evening and I'm hungry, so I'm going to get angry. If you think Dak is trash, you don't know what game you're watching. You honestly don't. You're just being a hater. I'm going to not really apologize for it because you're just wrong. I don't know how you can watch and actually watch Dak Prescott play. Game Pass is still free. Go check it out, people. I don't know how you can watch Dak play and say, "Oh yeah, this guy sucks." If you want to say Dak's top 15, not top 10, okay, that's fine. I get that. You think Dak is trash? You're just being a hater clown. There's no way around it. All right, super chat from Viva the Blame. That Dak one will not count as one of our last two questions. Since the Griffen deal is $3 million base, $3 million bonuses, that is a steal. I do want to see how those bases are set up and how they're structured. If it is like a roster bonus, then I think it still counts against the cap. If it is an incentive bonus, it might not. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. America's team, I'll mention the cap one. I think it's maybe around, it's somewhere in the 4 to 6 range, I think. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what those details look like there. I'm going to wait for a good question here to get this one in, because this is going to be our last one. I want it to be a good one. So if you haven't already, use hashtag Cowboys. Also, please subscribe. We will be live again tomorrow. We'll have the full contract detail breakdown for Everson Griffen, what it means for Clowney, what it means for Gregory, all of that. Okay. Case the Troll, or just, sorry, DJ exclusive. Dak will sign a deal next year, team friendly. Guys, Dak's not signing a team friendly deal. Like, he's not. I think that's been made pretty clear, right? And if you guys don't like Dak not signing a team-friendly deal, I get it. Because you want to see the Cowboys win. And the quarterback going cheaper makes that easier. I totally understand it. But I think Dak going with Todd France made it clear he was not going to settle for a deal that he didn't want. He wanted to maximize his own value. So team-friendly, he'd been on a team-friendly contract for 4 years. He wasn't going to be on it for the next 4 years. So the mistake from the Cowboys was not realizing that. The deal should have been done a year ago. Frankly, a year ago today, it should have been. A year and a half ago today, it should have been done. That was the mistake. They messed up by not getting the deal done then, because all they've done since then is cost themselves money long term. Medial says $37 million is the starting point. You're absolutely right. And it's probably 38 or more, because he's staring 38 down next year on the franchise tag. That's where we're at. That's the reality. Shout out John Lish and shout out, what's our other idiot's name today? T. Duke. Oh, Dak's not as good as Dalton. You're just a hater, man. There's no way around it. I think you're saying Dak's an 8-8 quarterback. He's done it one time. He's won it more than any quarterback in his draft class by a significant margin. You just don't pay attention then. I'm sorry. One last question, because I like this one from Zach Flores, and I'm actually going to sign off because I'm getting all angry. Do you think Tyrone Crawford will be traded? I don't think so, because I don't see a team actually paying Crawford $8 million beyond the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think that's going to happen. So a pay cut, a release, yes, it's possible. A Tyrone Crawford deal or a trade, probably not going to happen. All right, folks. So I'm going to John Lee says Dak went 8-8 when Romo wasn't part of the team. John, you're wrong again. You should have a degree in being wrong all the time. Romo was gone for several years, and the Cowboys won a playoff game. I don't know what you're talking about. How are you people this insane? Blows my mind. You're just putting out wrong information. You're trying to credit Romo. Romo was gone. I don't get it. See how angry I get tomorrow, folks, for our live show. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We'll be live again tomorrow, answering more of your outlandish Dak questions, and of course, breaking down Everson Griffen and Tyrone Crawford and all that other stuff around your Dallas Cowboys.